Episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Melanie?
I am well, and I am so happy to be here.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here today. Listen, everybody, grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for a wonderful episode. We're going to be talking to this woman here who has done some tremendous things while people were in shutdown mode and trying to figure out life. You have Melanie Summers, who is a homeschool coach and consultant with over 40 years of experience as an educator. And her love for educating children is her lifelong passion. So we're going to be talking with her today about her journey and her career track, what happened. I don't want to read it all in her bio because then you'll know the whole story, right? So we're going to hear from her directly. I am super excited to have you here. I know you have a master's in curriculum and instruction, and you are a part of RESA's team that developed guidelines and strategies for including special needs students, even in the classroom. So you have lots of theories and curriculums. You matriculated quite a bit successfully. Welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here.
I was glad to have you. So I want to make sure as people are grabbing their virtual seats that they know you can ask any questions that you may have. So as we're talking today, go ahead and type your questions, and I will also put a link in case you want to come on screen. So many people, when we're balancing life, especially when it came to the COVID time frame, we needed you. We needed you badly because we'll talk about that later, because I don't think that people were prepared to become homeschool moms and dads. And this was quite a lot when that transition happened, and it was forced upon us, you know?
This is true. I had all kinds of things going on then.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure. So I can already tell you, get your minds right and ask any questions you have. But I would love, Melanie, for us to just start by learning more about why you even have this deep-rooted passion for education. So take us back on your journey, maybe some of your younger years. What triggered this interest in you?
Well, it's curious that you asked me that question because it all started when I was in second grade. Absolutely. When I was in second grade, my teacher, Miss Dietrich, who is still my hero.
Aww.
Yeah, she put a problem on the board. She put these fractions on the board, 1/2 and 1/4. And she said, how many think this is the biggest fraction, 1/2? And I raised my hand. I was the only one who raised my hand. And then she said, well, how many think 1/4 is the bigger number? And the whole class, except me, raised their hand. Well, then all of that started happening, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, how dare you?
Yeah. Miss Dietrich stopped everyone and said, Melanie, why do you think 1/2 is greater than 1/4? I said, well, I help my mom cook. And every time she asks me to measure out 1/2 in the measuring cup, I know that it's more than 1/4, because 1/4 is just a little bit, but 1/2 is half the measuring cup. So I know 1/2 is bigger than 1/4. And also, there's 4 children in my family. And when my older sister and older brother are away at camp, my little sister and I get their share. So we get more when 2 of them are gone.
That's such a great answer from a young child. Okay.
Yeah, and Miss Dietrich looked at me like this and she said, you're going to be a great teacher someday.
So she instilled that in you at an early age. And even though you may have felt like you were on an island by yourself and you were the only one, You were actually right.
Yeah. And she looked at the rest of the class and she said, Melanie's correct, and you owe her an apology.
Miss Dietrich, that's her name?
Miss Dietrich, yep.
Oh, shout out to you, Miss Dietrich, for being able to. That's almost, in my opinion, like a prime example of a teacher saying that bullying is not allowed, even though I know that's not what you're talking about. But bullying is not accepted in my classroom. And she went to the extreme to even encourage the other students to do the right thing by you. And a lot of teachers may or may not do that. Well, I know teachers that I know would do that, but some people wouldn't. And I think that's to be commended as well. Yeah.
Yes. So that started it all along my journey. And then when I was in high school, I joined Future Teachers of America. That was my club. And when I graduated high school in 1973, guess what I put on my application for college? What do you want to do? I'm going into education.
Of course.
Exactly what I did. So when I graduated, and I graduated in 3 years, not 4.
Okay, congratulations. So Ms. Dietrich and family, and I'm sure poured into you to help that happen.
Absolutely. And it was the beginning of my life in 2nd grade, because it was a prediction of what I would become.
Wow. And so when you graduated, did you go straight into teaching?
I did. I went back to my hometown.
Now, was Ms. Dietrich there and embracing you with open arms?
Unfortunately, Miss Dietrich passed away.
Okay.
But she was probably in her 50s when I had her in 2nd grade. So, yeah. But I would have loved to have been able to just face her face to face and said, "Look what you started."
But you know what? You're still, guess what? Well, this is what I believe anyway. She's one of your cloud of witnesses, and she's still celebrating you. And the fact that you're today, however many years it's been since she's left this earth, you're still honoring her and celebrating her and her legacy and her memory and how she's poured into you. So those times never go away, you know?
No, they won't.
So congratulations.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite teachers of all time. She was great.
So I normally would say rest in peace, rest in heaven, but I just want to say, celebrating you, Ms. Dietrich, even though I believe that you are in heaven and watching as a cloud of witnesses, Melanie's outcome. So congratulations to you, Ms. Dietrich, and congratulations to you, Melanie, for what you've done. So yay. Okay. So now you go into this teaching world, because we're talking today about how this traditional type of teacher who went on this journey became this homeschool guru, basically. So talk to us about your teaching career and how you were managing that and balancing it.
Well, I think I should go back to the philosophy that I was taught in education.
Tell us about it, please.
And that philosophy is, in any given classroom, there are 3 basic levels of learning. You've got those who are very, very smart. Mm-hmm. And when I started teaching, there was no such thing as a gifted class. They were just very smart kids.
Okay.
And then you had your average kids, which was, sometimes 3/4 of your class, the average kids. And then you had these low-level kids that struggled, and there was not much you could do for them, and you could just pat them on the head and hope they learned something.
And you call them low-level kids?
Yes.
That is horrible, actually.
They were low achievers.
Okay.
And I kind of didn't like that philosophy.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that. But again, everyone, this is Kim's personal opinion. I don't like that.
It was my personal opinion too, because they said, if you teach to the average, the high average are going to get it because they're going to learn regardless. And most of the kids in the average, so most of your class is going to learn everything you teach. Right. And those ones who are on the lower spectrum, they'll pick up some things. So that was the philosophy of the day. As I, went ahead, and I went into teaching that way, I made my lesson plans geared to the average kids. But then, I thought, this is not right. Everyone has a mind, and they learn at different rates. And I just need to spend a little extra time with some of these children. And then I discovered a philosophy. It was a theory of multiple intelligence, and the psychologist that devoted his time to that is a fellow by the name of Howard Gardner.
Okay.
And when I read his philosophy and kind of like went into and took a deep dive into it, I found the secret sauce.
Okay, don't tell us the secret sauce yet. We're going to take a commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to hear what the secret sauce is that he taught you. All right, we'll be right back, everybody, right after this commercial break. Don't you want to know what the secret sauce is?
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, so tell us what the secret sauce is.
Well, there's a lot to it, so I'm not going to, tell you all my secrets. But it basically said that traditional education said when you are born with a certain intelligence, and that's what you have throughout life. Howard Gardner said, the more you learn, the higher your intelligence becomes. He also said there are 8 major ways that children learn. Okay. And everyone has all of these 8, but everyone has particular things that they like better than others.
Well, that's such as life, by the way. So we all have things that we like better than other things, and we make adjustments as a result of it, or make decisions as a result of it.
For instance, some of his categories were mathematical logical, which means you see things in a mathematical way. You see pictures in your head. You can easily design stuff right here and then put it and then make it happen. Right. And then there are your linguistic learners who are very good at language, the written word, the spoken word, the reading word. Then you have those people who are, say, interpersonal people. Interpersonal people are those people who they'll make friends wherever they go. They're outgoing, they share, they want to help. And then you have your intrapersonal people who are like, I want to learn by myself. Don't put me in a group. I'll come over here in the corner. Don't bother me.
Yeah, that's definitely not me. I love
not me either. But there's 8 different levels of learners, and you have them all in your classroom. And there is a test you can take. Now, Howard Gardner's had like 200 questions on it, and they were from an adult psychologist point of view, which would be not very workable in a 3rd grade classroom. So I devised, using his test, one that 3rd graders could understand.
Oh, okay. And so yours, just as an example of maybe 2 different types of styles of the 8 learners, give us an example from a 3rd grade level understanding of one or 2 of those.
I love to solve problems like Rubik's Cube. I would rather read under a tree than in my room.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I love that.
So there's about, I think there's 24 questions. I narrowed it down to 24 questions.
Okay.
And they're color coded. So and you rate them between 1 and 5. So if I would say to you, Kim, I love to solve problems. I love to solve puzzles like Rubik's Cube. Would that be a 5? I would do it in a heartbeat, or a 1? Don't show me those. I hate them.
Oh no, it would be a 5. A 5 for me. 4 or 5. And even sitting outside, like on the rocking chair or by the little fire pit thing or whatever, I would love that. The only drawback to that, at least now in my 50s, is that I have to go out there and spray it and make sure. So sometimes it
Okay,
prohibits.
so you see, you can rate that between 1 and 5.
Right.
So would it be all the time, most of the time, some of the times, a few times, or none of the times?
Some of the time, only because of the extra work that it would take for me to have to do it, to get it prepared to do it. It would
Okay,
be a lot more, but
so you would score that a 3.
yeah, a 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4, depending, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, you take all the blues and you add up all those numbers. All the greens, all the pinks, all the yellows are all color coded. And then you put them, the numbers, you put them in at the bottom in their little circle. And those colors go with kinds of learners.
I love that. I love that. And you know what this also reminds me of, Melanie, and people in the studio audience, feel free to chime in with your thoughts. But because of autism and the spectrum regarding children with autism, I think that this type of activity would really help no matter what age they are, because I know of different activities that you're sharing. It will make a difference for children that live with autism as well. Yeah.
So imagine I have 27 kids and they're third graders. That means they're 8 or 9 years old.
Right.
And now I have what kind of learners there are. Now, sometimes your dominant you might have scored it a 13, but there was 2 others that you scored a 12. You see, those are very close. So I can put them in groups with who had those same different numbers.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, I have 3 major groups.
That's good.
So when I started my lesson, I started with a hook. Now, my favorite hook was talking to my imaginary friend.
And you would model this as the teacher.
I would. And I would walk, I walk to the front of the room and I'd be having this conversation. Of course, the kids are all giggling behind me, right? So, I was like, and I'm talking and I'm, what? What's your problem? And they giggle some more as you're talking to yourself. I am not. I'm talking. Oh, you can't see Jockey. I can't see you. So I would listen to his questions.
Okay.
And he would ask me a question. I said, oh, he wants to know blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I would start addressing that. And that would be toward one of these chunks of kids. I call them chunks, chunk 1, 2, and 3. So I'd start teaching into that different. And then he'd interrupt me and I'd say, oh, well, then I would do it this way. And then I would morph into the second group of kids.
I love that philosophy. So, but let me ask for a clarifying question. None of these 3 chunks of groups know that they are in that group as far as being labeled.
Correct. They are not labeled, but I never taught in straight little rows. I taught in tables. Okay. They were at tables. So when I was finished, I would give them their classwork to do and I would be walking around. But the thing about it is that kids are just like adults.
Right.
Adults, if you tell an adult not to talk, and they're in a group of people, they'll be going through their purse or they'll be looking at their iPhone. They'll be doing anything
right,
but listening to what's going on. Kids are the same way. So I always let them talk. They were at a table within their group.
But they didn't know that they were at a table with their group. So they're at a table with people they feel comfortable with already, that they naturally gravitate towards. And so they're thinking that they're just hanging out with their buddies.
Exactly. This is true. But they were allowed to talk about, they weren't allowed to talk about, what they're going to do tonight. If I heard that, I was like, so what does that have to do with the lesson here? Let's go back to this. Okay.
Right. Jockey didn't tell me. Would you say Jockey? Is that who it is?
Jockey.
Yeah. So Jockey didn't tell me you were going to be talking about your activities after class, right? Okay.
Right. So I would go and I would answer questions. And here's the little catch is that some of the kids in each one of the groups also had dominances with every other person that's in these other groups.
Right.
So if they had a question, they were allowed to get up and walk over to one of the groups and talk about,
Okay.
we don't understand this. I mean, what did you get out of it?
That's good.
They would be allowed to talk to them and reinforce that, and then they could take it back to their group.
And there were no parameters. It's like whoever you feel you need to talk to, whatever needs to happen for you to get the answer that you're looking for to understand what I'm sharing as a teacher. So I really like that philosophy and the fact that nobody felt like they were being left out or isolated or picked on or singled out or anything like that. So, and that philosophy, you embrace that because of where? From Ms. Dietrich, or who did you get that philosophy from?
When I discovered it, because I always kind of like thought that these children on the lower spectrum of learning, they were being left out. And back when I began teaching, they were isolated. They were taken out of your classroom and put in out of homeroom, went to the special education room, and that's where they stayed all day. So they weren't even part of their peers. And then that's when inclusion, the philosophy of inclusion started, where they would the of least resistance.
Right.
Children had to be put where they could learn the best, and they can learn the best with their peers. So
I love that.
That's when they got rid of the special ed room, other than maybe a 30-minute in the afternoon, bring them in, help them with homework or that sort of thing. So instead of all day in a classroom of special needs children, they put them back in the classroom. So this particular philosophy became my secret sauce, because now these kids are now learning from me, learning from their peers, and they were learning really at a high rate of speed. It was so successful that one of my last teaching experiences, when I moved to Virginia, I was teaching an inclusion math and science class. And I had two sessions, one in the morning with one class, one in the afternoon with another class. And I taught only math and science during that time. At the end of the year, I was called in by the district, and I thought I was in trouble. Called the district unless you're in trouble.
Imagine you getting in trouble with your innovative philosophy. Okay, so you get called in, and what are they saying?
The director of math and science, she pulled her chair out from behind her desk and sat it in front of me, facing me. She had a steno pad, she had her pen, and she was looking over her glasses at me, and she goes, "Mrs. Summers, your two sixth grade inclusion classes have the highest math score on the SAT in any of our classes, including high school, in math. What were you doing?"
Awesome. So you became a trailblazer and a pioneer, setting the foundation for everyone to follow. And what did you tell them?
I told them what I did.
Okay. Did they implement what you did across the board? And
what I understand is they are still using parts of that. Yes, they are. And that's with just hooking up with some of the teachers that I taught with. And some of these teachers, they took it to other schools when they stopped working there and was hired in another district. So hopefully they are doing their thing using that philosophy. But it's not because of me. It's because I found Howard Gardner, and he had that philosophy in 1985. I think.
Well, I'm grateful that you are acknowledging Howard Gardner and honored that theory worked for you to be able to convert it into a third grade level of understanding. So very grateful for that. And I think that what you've shared, any age can benefit from, even adults, if you do the same type of testing that you've shared. Now, these young people, do you have any kind of outcomes for them? And were you able to track anything from how they ended up doing in life? Anything that you were able to go back and pinpoint? point?
Well, some of those people were the people that called me during COVID and said, could you help me out here?
I need, okay, yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about the COVID thing. When we come, we're gonna take a commercial break shortly here, everyone. I want to take a moment, first of all, to acknowledge you in the virtual studio audience. Thank you for being here today. And also, please ask any questions that you have. For all of the audio podcast listeners as well, thank you for tuning in from your various downloadable devices. And also for those that are streaming, and we're streaming in 100 countries, 350 million households. Thank you globally for tuning into the Kim Jacobs Show today. Today's episode is sponsored by Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And if you're dealing with disability, workers' compensation claim, or you're dealing with the wrongful death of a loved one, I want to make sure you know you can reach out to them at 704-457-5000, 704-457-5000. And our other episode sponsor today, which you're going to hear from in a second, is also vproducts.store. That's vproducts.store. It's this amazing coffee that everyone's been ranting and raving about, and it's mushroom infused. They have some that is black coffee, but go to vproducts.store. And again, let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. We're going to watch another commercial, and we'll be right back, Melanie, to hear about what happened in 2017, between that time frame, 2017, 2020, that changed your life. We'll be right back, everyone. All right, everyone, we are back, and we're talking with Melanie Summers, who's been in education for over 40 years. And in 2017, something happened that kind of shifted your whole philosophy. I'd like to hear what that is, if you will.
Okay, but before I do that, I want to tell your audience that I drink that coffee that you just advertised.
I do. I didn't know that. How would I know that?
And I will never drink another coffee. That is the best coffee I've ever drank in my life. And I'm a 3, 4, 5 cupper a day.
Get out of here. Now, that is bizarre to have the company sponsoring the Kim Jacobs Show, and Melanie is one of the people that drink the coffee. Let me put that up again. Listen, wow, I don't know these things, but let me put this back up again. Today's episode is sponsored by vproducts.store. So go get your own coffee, and again, let them know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And if you're ever interested in being a sponsor for the Kim Jacobs Show, please let me know. You can inbox me. You can also email me, and I'll put my information up here for you, Kim, I'll put this because this is important for you to know too. On October 25th, I'm starting a training class teaching people how to start their own virtual shows from scratch. And so I normally do a 1-hour training per week for 6 weeks with one individual, but I've been taking 5 students to be a part of this training, and you all get the opportunity to work from the comfort of your home, and you get the opportunity to split that amount. It has been phenomenal. So I have 1 seat left for this October 25th class. Feel free to reach out to me, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv, if you want to grab that seat, and look forward to having you in class. You will learn the A to Z's of how to start your own virtual show from scratch. kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. And let me know if you want to be a sponsor for the Kim Jacobs Show. Wow, I'm impressed that you drink the coffee and you love it like that.
Oh, it is alkaline. Most coffees will give me heartburn. This does not. It's the way, the kind of coffee bean they use, because I did a little bit of research because I like my coffee. Okay. And they use organic, whole. That's important. Not half. Whole organic green Arabica coffee beans.
Okie dokie. Well, there you have it, everybody. Go to vproducts.store. So talk to us, Melanie. Something happened in 2017 2017 to 2020, right before everybody went into the shutdown mode with COVID. What happened in your life?
Well, I need to preface that with I live in Arizona.
Okay.
Arizona is right to work, which means that if something happens that your employer doesn't like, they can fire you. And I was fired in 2017 because I interviewed in another school district to become their math and science administrator.
You weren't allowed to interview somewhere else. They just could let you go.
Well, I was allowed, but the owner of the charter school that I worked at didn't like that too well. So she said, well, I guess you don't want to work here. Bye.
Well, that sounds kind of a mess.
So I'm like, okay. And I brought everything home with me, and everything in that room practically belonged to me.
Right.
And so I brought my stuff home and put it in my living room and had a path through it. I look like a hoarder.
Well, you know what? I think in a way, it sounds like that was one of the best things that could have happened to you.
It did, because anytime anything stressful ever happened to me, I ate. I ate and I ate and I ate, and I would always balloon up and then look at myself and say, okay, I've got to lose weight. And so you can see where I ended up 6 months later was the before picture. And I weighed 200 pounds in that picture.
Wow.
And that's when I realized I was committing suicide with food.
Now, that's an interesting way to word it. Suicide with food. What makes you say it in that term?
Because I would go up and down, and I was putting things in my body that did not need to be there. All of the things that you get in prepackaged food, McDonald's, I know a lady that was cleaning her son's closet out and found a hamburger in her son's from a fast food 12 years ago. It was in perfect condition. So
in perfect condition?
Yes. Perfect condition.
That is so concerning.
Yes, it is. So, you can take those things, do that. When you do that, you're hurting your body, you're hurting your organs. I mean, when you hurt your body and your organs in that way,
right,
you are taking life away from you. And that is when I learned that, some people do it quickly. I was doing it over a lifetime of slowly doing that. And it is not healthy. And the strain that you put on your heart and your liver and all of your organs when you blow up like that is ridiculous and is so harmful. So I found the American Sports and Fitness Association online, and I found I could be certified at learning at home with a homeschool type of learning platform. And I became certified as a health and wellness coach. And I took control over my life. I learned how to go to at the time, I was 64 at the time.
Wait, at that time?
At that time, I was 64.
Wait a minute, Melanie. You know how people be like, wait 1 minute, just hold on. You cannot say that you were 64 back at that moment. I have no idea then how old you are now, because this doesn't even make sense. And please, somebody put in the comment section, this just can't be.
I'm going to be 69 in another month.
Get out of here. Amazing. So now you just took total control of your own health, became a certified health coach, and now you teach people what? From a health perspective.
Well, I teach them nutrition, how to eat, how to combine their foods so that they don't work against them. For instance, a lot of people go to a steakhouse and order a big old baked potato with their steak and maybe a salad. You should never eat those at the same time.
Okay, that's important to know.
Yeah.
So give us an example of if you were at a steakhouse, what would you order? Because we want to know how to balance it here.
Well, I would not order the potato. I would order the steak with with a side salad and a vegetable.
Interesting. So now what I do, just so you know, I'll go if I go to a steakhouse, I'll order my meat, but then I'll order the potato, but I'll cut it in half and immediately pack half of it to go. But I guess I'm still out of compliance, right? Technically.
Yeah. Or if you do the potato, go ahead and eat your steak, drink some water in between,
Hmm.
eat some of your vegetable or your salad, right?
Hmm.
And then you can have some of your potato, but never eat them in together because one becomes a glue, just like glue.
Interesting. Wow. So that probably so 2020, 2017 to 2020, you came into this epiphany of I'm changing my life to the point where you lost that much weight. And then you went into from a homeschooling perspective. How did this transition to this? Because there's so
All
many
right.
different new pieces.
Well, the before happened in 2018.
Okay.
And then by the time I turned 65, I was doing 65 military push-ups in the gym.
Get out of here. Okay. So you
And
became almost like Wonder Woman or Superwoman.
everyone was like, whoa, they could not believe what I was doing. So, well, it helped me on my client base.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but then in 2020, as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic hit and everyone was quarantined.
Mhm.
If there wasn't very many places you could go. You could go to the grocery store and wear masks and be 6 feet apart and follow your little thing up and down, the little curvatures of the store of what aisles you were on and when you were on them. And that's about all you could go. You go to the hospital. But that was about, you couldn't go anywhere. You had to be at home. And that quarantined kids from school. And while all of schools internationally were scrambling on how we are going to educate our children were at home waiting on how to do this. And then they
Right.
came up with, they were going to have virtual classrooms on a Zoom type of setting. And imagine you being 8 years old and sitting in a Zoom type setting, and your teacher is trying to show you how to reduce fractions.
That I personally, because I have nieces and nephews and children of my own that are still school age at that time, I witnessed some of that happening, and the attention span alone for the children were like, "What in the world? I'm not doing this. I don't even." And you can call me unruly, you can call me whatever, but this is not normal what you're doing to me. So this is abnormal. The whole experience, you know? Yeah. So.
Yeah. So imagine that happening.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to back up just a half a second here. I never was one of those teachers who kept myself isolated after school from parents and children. That's one of the first things I did is I gave my phone number to my parents.
That's good.
So, because I never wanted a child to go home and struggle with something that they just didn't remember how to do. And, a parent would call me and say, I'm lost here. I don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And at that point in time, I would just all right, don't do that assignment. Because most teachers, like, you don't have your assignment, you've got recess detention. Not me. I was like, I'll sit down with your child tomorrow sometime and figure out what's going on here.
That's good.
Because
So
you practice doing something wrong, guess what happens? That goes in the brain as
you learn it wrong. You learn it wrong.
and it's hard to undo that knot.
That's
So come the quarantine in 2020, guess what started happening?
what?
My phone started ringing. I can remember the first time my phone was ringing. I was trying to figure out what I was going to have for dinner. And I found this recipe using chicken. And so here I am upside down like a V in my freezer, and my phone rings, and I grab it out of my pocket and I stand up, bang my head.
Oh my gosh.
Hello? It was one of my students. And
And what were they saying?
she said, Mrs. Summers, if I send you a screenshot of a problem I have to do. Would you help me with it? I don't understand how to do this. You are the only teacher I have ever had that could explain math in such a simple way that I got it. Would you please help me?
All right, Miss Dietrich, working with the student. Her spirit lives on through you. I told you, it's Melanie over there.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, send me the screenshot. And I recognized it exactly what it was. It was a picture of a house, and it had, one of them at 90 degrees, and then x plus 23, and then this one over here. So it was, different thing, it was algebra. It was pre-algebra type of thing. And I said, well, that's a pentagram, right? And they, yeah. So, well, what do you remember what the degrees are of the inside angles of a 5-sided thing? And she said, she told me what it was. And I said, now look at your givens. And the givens. And then I realized that now we're getting into algebraic geometry.
Right.
So I said, all right, write that as an equation. And because you have 5 angles there, right? I said, now, do you remember back in 6th grade when I wrote on the board apples plus apples squared plus oranges squared plus apples plus 2 apples squared, and we put that all together, and because you could only put apples with apples and oranges with oranges, and only apples, it was like gala apples and
you're speaking in tongues to me. If I was in a church service,
I know I'm probably speaking in tongues to the rest of the audience.
My daughter showed me a sheet with some angles on it, and I was like, we need to get some. She's an A honor roll student, but I'm like, I don't know the answer.
Doing that, she remembered doing that, is grouping them together. I said, do that with your equation, and she did it. Okay, that
came to her. It came to her.
It did, and she said, "Can you help my brother? He's having trouble."
Right, look, we're gonna all be calling you Miss Summers, okay? So
that's exactly what happens, because she gets on the horn with all of her friends and saying, "If you're having trouble, call Mrs. Summers. She'll help you."
This is her cell number. Call her. She's not. All she's doing is cooking dinner. So you actually started because of that one student calling you, but then now it's grown to this. You're now literally.
It's an actual business. I have an actual website. I have different plans that people can buy into. And, but I will tell you that I found out that trying to teach a child on a Zoom is like what they used to do that failed. So what I do is I consult and coach the parent.
Oh, good. Okay. So that's what I want to get into. The fact is, you are actually the consultant for the parent, and you have innovative. Is this your website? Innovative Home Solutions.
Homeschool Solutions. www.innovativehomeschoolsolutions.com.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put that in the. Yeah. This is good to know right here. Helping parents learn to teach. I'm going to go. Oh, I love this. I'm going to share my screen for a second, everyone. Let me get over here because I want to make sure you get to see, and I'll put it in the comment section for you as well. But let's see, Melanie, you didn't tell me this backstage. You have this website, the Innovative. This is huge. You're keeping some secrets over there, woman. I'm like, what? This is epic. Homeschool. Let me get over here and share the screen. Y'all, we're doing the most in this interview today, which is a good thing because you're learning a lot about Melanie Summers here and how she took her 40-year teaching career, traditional teaching career, even though she was innovative, and now turned it into this, which is Innovative Homeschool Solutions.com. Did it come up? Let me pull that. Yeah, there it is. Can you see it? Look at that. OMG, hello. Helping parents learn to teach homeschool and coaching. Oh my goodness. You can go here and you say you can get lesson plans. What else?
Well, I have plans. I have 3 different things. I do tutor children that on a specific need.
Okay.
On a specific need, but it's not something that I do as a job, so to speak.
Okay, but it's a service that you offer.
Yes, if I'm having trouble doing something like combining X's and Y's, all right, and your child is struggling and you're not getting it, I will tutor that child on that specific skill.
Good.
Okay.
I wanted to make note of this too. Homeschool on the rise. On your website, you say from 900,000 in 2019 to over 5 million in 2023. The number of homeschool children in the United States is swiftly increasing. But if you all go to this website, you're going to learn all of the services that are offered by Melanie and how she can help you as a homeschool coach. And each of these tabs will give you the chance to learn how to begin your journey. And even if you have an existing homeschool, how to actually revamp some of the things that you are currently doing. So I'm going to put that in the comment section. Melanie, wow. I'm trying to think. When we come back, you're also an author, a new author of a book. So before we close out, I definitely want to give people a chance to learn more about you being in what's almost like an encyclopedia about health. Oh my goodness. We're going to take a commercial break, everyone. We will be right back right after this break, talking to Melanie Summers. Yeah.
Who are those people? You know, the guys playing golf in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. The woman wearing $1,000 shoes at a cafe in the city. The kid in the ripped jeans driving a $200,000 sports car. What do they know that you don't? One word: leverage. Working smarter, not harder. Owning their own business, not being owned by a job. The good news? We have it. Interested?
Yeah, we actually going to play the other part to that commercial right now. We'll play the other part and then come right back, the second piece of that commercial. Wow. Mackenzie probably like, huh?
2 things are almost certain about you. Number 1, you know people who travel. Of course you do. Everybody travels. It's an $8 trillion industry. It's what people dream about doing. And number 2, you probably aren't making the commission. You see, every car rental, every hotel, and every resort pays commissions. They may go to a website or to a traditional travel agent, but trust us, someone is earning it. Well, what if we could show you a way to put that commission in your pocket? It doesn't hurt to take a peek. Interested?
All right. So we are back and we're talking with Melanie Summers, having a great discussion. Before we transition, I want to make sure that I give you the chance to finish out on anything pertaining to your homeschooling experience. By the way, everybody, you can email trueyougetaway@gmail.com, trueyougetaway@gmail.com, if you're interested in learning more about the travel industry and how you can own a piece of it. All right. So Melanie, if you would tell us any closing comments pertaining to the education and homeschooling and your innovative solutions, homeschoolsolutions.com. Anything you want to say before we transition to you being an author as well?
Well, I not only consult and coach parents on things they may have forgotten how to do as they're trying to teach their children at home. I also help them set up schedules. I show them how to make a high school transcript. Yeah, you don't have to put your kid back into school. You can have your own. I've had kids who started college when they were 12. And I also, though, do something kind of nifty. If you're going on a vacation and taking your kids with you, say you're going to go on a ski trip, or you're going to go visit a different country, or you're going to just, take a day trip and go like I'm in Arizona, you want to go to the Grand Canyon.
Mhm.
And you tell me that ahead of time, I can work up things you can do while you're there that the kids are learning while they're there and they don't even know that they're learning.
Yeah, I've been a homeschool mom, right? Because I had actually started about a month or so before COVID hit, and I'm glad I did because that would have sent me into a frenzy. But one thing that you're saying is so accurate. Anytime you get somebody like yourself to coach you on that process, they get educational credits for it. I have where the people that sign off saying that we have an ID number associated with the actual academy. So I've learned so much from homeschool coaches like you, but it wasn't you directly, but I should have had you all along. And I would be so much further ahead. Because I wasn't trying to be out. I actually always said to my friends, I'm definitely not a homeschool mom person, but you become what you need to become for your children in those times of need.
Well, this is true. And a lot of times people will pull their children out of school because of something that's happened, bullying. They pull them out because they don't like the curriculum. They don't agree with the politics, which in my opinion should never be part of education, but it is today. So for various reasons, people bring their kids out. Then they get frustrated because they don't know what they don't know. And then, 3 months later, what happens? They've got their child back into school. Now the child is confused. The teacher is trying to catch them up. And, if you want to avoid all of that, give me a call. I can help you.
Yes, let's put Melanie's information up for you all. Tell them how they can stay connected with you, Melanie, please, before we talk about the book.
Yes. My email is melanie.summers. That's my name. @live.com. And my phone number, you can give me a call or leave me a message at 480-747-2121. And I tell people 747 is a big plane, 747. We want to go as a trip to Las Vegas.
Yes. So 480-757-2121. 480-747-2121. Okay, and that's for our podcast listeners because they don't get to see this screen. Melanie.Summers@live.com. And you can obviously also visit her website, which I put in the comment section, which is Innovative Homeschools Solution in schools. Yeah, homeschool singular solutions.
Yes.
So that's Innovative Homeschool Solutions.com. All right. So make sure you all stay connected with Melanie. Now, Melanie, you're also very proud to be a part of this anthology, encyclopedia kind of thing, Healthopedia. Talk to us about your role here.
Well, I wrote in Healthopedia about my story about being overweight and how I became healthy. And there's many really inspiring stories in there. There's a story of a girl who is still in her stages and from really sick with cancer to coming out of it. There's stories in there from really great doctors. It's a collaborative book with Dr. Bernie Siegel and with my good friend Jody Bear, Dr. Jody.
Yes, we love Dr. Jody Bear.
She and I are soul sisters and spiritual sisters. So, she and I have been in each other's life for very many years. And we've come from, not so close to being best friends. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Those people on the back of that book are people that have written in this. You may have heard of Dr. Jim Marinakis. You may have heard of Serena Brown Travis, I think that's her name.
Yes, that's Les Brown's daughter, Dr. Les
Yes.
Brown's daughter.
Yes, Rex Sykes is in that. Dame Doria Cordova. All of these people are in this book. And there's some other people that are friends of mine that are in this book. And every one of them have a great story. I suggest you get this book because it will change it's got life-changing stories in it. It really does. So yes, I was a part of that book, and it went as an international best-selling book in 2 days in all 13 countries on Amazon. And it's working its way. It's not there yet, but it's working its way up to a New York Times bestseller list too.
Way to go. Way to go. Congratulations to you. There are 42 authors in this book. And actually, one of our episode sponsors for today, I will tell you, he's my son. And this is his transformation. He's a student at UNC Charlotte and also National Association of Sports Medicine certified, both virtually and in person. I put this picture up, but he probably like, Lord, Mom, do not show that picture. But it's because he went on his own personal journey to be able to transform, losing over 100 pounds himself. And he does sponsor the Kim Jacobs Show. So majorpt.com is who he is. And he would, love the opportunity to work with you. But let me also put his picture here that I love, that Dr. Jody Bear and y'all did some stuff with this. And look at my son. This is my son. Ivan. I won't say his middle name. Ivan M. Jacobs. And it's majorpt.com. So check him out. And he is one of the collaborating authors in this anthology, Healthopedia. All right.
I would be remiss to say that that's my only book. I have already been an international bestselling author in 2 other books before that. One was Ignite Wisdom, and the other was Ignite Forgiveness. And then the Healthopedia. So hopefully this book behind me, Learning Outside the Line, will go internationally. It launches November 3rd, and it is a guide for homeschooling parents. It's got everything in it from the Howard Gardner test that I devised. It's in that book. I teach you what you need for homeschooling. You don't have to go out and get everybody a box of crayons. I mean, you don't have to set it up like in a traditional school. And I teach you how to do a transcript, how to keep a portfolio. I teach you everything you need to know about homeschooling in that book, Learning Outside the Line. It launches November 3rd.
November 3rd, you guys. You don't want to miss this opportunity to get this new book that is coming out. It's going to hit the press. It's going to become an international best-selling book. And so, Learning Outside the Line, everything you need to know about some homeschooling tips and strategies. And you're going to be able to connect with Melanie Summers to even learn more. You can go to, let me put the webs, first of all, how you stay connected. So stay connected with her. We talked about that in detail. But then I also want you to visit innovativehomeschoolsolutions.com. And they can get this book right on your website too when it launches?
When it launches, yes. And my other books are on there also.
So all of her books are right on innovativehomeschoolsolutions.com. But this one, Learning Outside the Lines, is coming out in November 4th. And you don't want to miss that launch date. I had a few other pictures I wanted you to address. Tell us what they are about before we close out.
All right. This is Lady J.B. Owen, and she is my publisher. And she has led me through 3 books now. So, and she's just great. So there you have it. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. So in about 3 weeks, my book, Learning Outside the Line, launches.
Yes, I am just excited that we've had this time together. It's been an incredible time. I see comments that came in over here in the studio audience. Let me give a moment to just acknowledge some. I see Ashton. Ashton, let's see. You said, give me 1 second, and I'm trying to look at the comments. And okay, hey, good morning. How are you? Thank you for connecting me with folks. Oh yeah, so yesterday we had a Special Olympian that was on gold medal earner, and she was talking about some of the disabilities that have happened that she's experienced with visual impairment. and what her experience was with the Special Olympics. So you all make sure that you watch her episode, Ashton Smith. You can see it right on the Kim Jacobs Show YouTube channel if you want to go and do that. People said, have a great weekend. You girls look gorgeous. Oh, thank you. I didn't even know I looked gorgeous. Okay, let's see. I know I'm happy on the inside, that's for sure. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Let's see. Wow, Melanie, you look good. You look gorgeous. Dr. Zakia said, I love the title. And she's over diversity and inclusion in a lot of different projects internationally. And she says she just loves the title of your book.
Thank you.
Let's see. Lots of comments have come in. I didn't want to disregard any. I'm trying to. Mackenzie, if you see any that I may have missed, just please pop it up right quick before we close out. Because you can support by sending stars. I see that. Make sure you all support. And CTR Media Network, Dr. Tina Ramsey is on, and we stream over in 100 countries and 350 million households. Okay, I did. People are watching it and they like you. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for your comment, Ashton. Any other comments that's over there? I saw a question, but I can't figure out.
Well, I have a comment. Don't you have a way to donate to your show?
Oh, please. Yeah. Thank you for helping me. Right. let me put it up. You might want to say something. Maybe by you saying it, some donations will come in today. Say something.
You know, this is truly a great show. And it's not the first time I've been on your show, Kim. I have been there, but not with other people and had my 5 minutes of fame. But this one's been, just me. But this show does not run on wishes and lipstick. It needs money. So if you like this show, make sure that you go ahead and you donate, $1, $5, $500. Do contribute to the show. You do a wonderful thing, Kim, and I have watched it several times, and I always love your guests, and I'm sure that those people who watch you, they love it too. But maybe they didn't realize that they could help you out by just donating for your process to keep this on the air and keep people like me and like Dr. Jody part of your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Listen, I appreciate everything that you all do in the community, and I definitely love all of you and honored to be able to serve you as we bring balance to the world, one household at a time. Melanie, thank you for being my guest today. It was an outstanding pleasure. Mackenzie, so glad to have you back. Mackenzie recently had her baby girl, and so honored to have her back. And Cassandra, thank you for everything you always do as well, because without a team of people, I really could not operate the show at this level. So thank you all for tuning in the virtual studio audience. Without you, there is no show. So thank you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember today is, Freestyle Friday is happening, and we have some experts that's going to knock your socks off. So make sure you're ready in the virtual seat at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 11. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you